Welcome to Latter-day Saints, where we practice brolygamy in its true form. It's been 2 years since President Nelson was called as prophet, and as he said, if you think the church has been fully restored, you're just seeing the beginning. Here are the changes. Church meetings are shortened to 2 hours each Sunday.
So now I'm looking for them to shave another half an hour off.
Home and visiting teaching is now ministering.
Does anyone else feel significantly less guilty for their lack of commitment to that calling? Because I sure do.
High priest combined with elders quorum.
I'm in primary, don't care.
Come follow me, home-centered learning.
Yeah, I agree. The 4-year-olds I teach who can't even remember what they ate for breakfast that morning are benefiting from this.
Missionaries can call home weekly instead of twice a year.
That is so weird.
Women missionaries can wear pants in most situations.
With hilarious consequences.
Service missions are available for some young people instead of proselyting missions.
Awesome.
Couples can now get married in the temple immediately after a civil wedding.
I really like this one. Yeah. So, yeah, this will benefit me really soon.
Women with children under 18 can now be temple volunteer workers.
Kind of screws over the dads there a little bit, doesn't it?
11-year-olds now in priesthood and young women.
That's awesome.
The church has promised a new seminary curriculum that helps young people deal with serious questions and integrates their study with what the rest of the church is doing.
It says the church has promised. So I make promises all the time.
The Saints book is an honest publication of LDS history.
There's honest and there's honest.
The church has clarified policy that denied baptism and baby blessings to children of same-sex couples.
This one's backfired, though.
Church apostles are now on Instagram and pushing social media.
Keeping up with the bednars. Yeah. Reality show where we actually follow them around like day to day and see what they're doing when they're not churching.
Church teamed up with the NAACP.
That's pretty cool.
I never thought that NWA and the church would be together.
40th anniversary of the priesthood becoming available to all.
The show they put on was really fantastic, actually. I enjoyed it.
Yay, let's celebrate not being racist anymore.
Name of the church emphasized, Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Right, here's a test. What's the new name of Mormon.org? Steve?
churchofjesuschrist.org.
Oh crap, you actually knew.
So looking at these changes as a whole, what do you feel is the overall impact and direction of the church going forward?
More individual accountability and more, spirituality for emphasis. Yeah.
Kind of brought this point up a couple times before, but there's a difference between doctrine and policy, and policy is always evolving. Doctrine stays the same. Policy has to evolve. It evolves with the times, with the culture, and with things. But the policy is never the most important part of the gospel. It just helps advise us in how to administer things in the church.
Even though no big announcements were dropped at last conference, the rumor mill is still going, with many unsubstantiated reports of general and area authorities saying that big changes are still on the way, and many reports of missionaries getting mission calls with a blank letter saying that their time frame and location will be announced at conference.
We've heard that we've heard that for like 2 years now. Yeah. 18 months I've heard that same thing.
With a month to go, these are the top rumors. First one, 18-month missions for both men and women.
Giving it an option wouldn't be bad, I know, especially if it falls in time where, by a couple of weeks you might miss, your deadlines to start a semester of school or something.
But you did make the point in the previous podcast that if it's foreign speaking, you might have only just started getting the language and now you're getting sent home again. But it's optional, right? So, I guess...
It'll take you 12 months to learn Mandarin alone, and then you get 6 months left in the country.
Reduction in number of weekly youth activities and or elimination of stake youth presidencies and stake auxiliaries.
Yeah, I don't know that I like that. As a youth, I really like the whole weekly aspect. Of course, that was outside of Utah. I could see the hassle of having weekly stuff in Utah because you have like 4 wards to a building and things can get really crazy and jammed over there. But as a youth growing up in North Carolina outside of Utah, it was really nice to be able to see my church friends, which rarely ever lived anywhere close to me or even went to the same school as me. It was nice to see them more than just on Sundays.
I think the activities actually help develop friendships, which is really good for the youth.
If people are having fun, they're probably going to cut it down. Move on.
All right, a few temple changes. Temple recommend questions will differ. Photo IDs on your temple recommend.
Photo IDs make a lot of sense.
There's no way, because how are they going to do that? They're going to have a credit card machine in every chapel, just printing out these temple recommends?
Right.
If we're going to do this, why don't we do this properly, like iris scanning or something like that?
Oh, come on.
Really, the thumbprint, how difficult is that? Laptops come with thumbprint scanners. Why can't they have a thumbprint thing at the temple? Sure. There you go, church, that one's for free.
So to go along with the Word of Wisdom update from last month, Energy drinks will be forbidden.
It wasn't mentioned in that article. That would have been the place to put it.
It's too vague of a thing. What's an energy drink? Like how many grams of caffeine does it have to have or not have?
I was gonna say, they start getting that specific, then it's gonna be like, oh, what about this type of energy drink? Because this has this in it, this one doesn't.
Right.
It is like a health thing, but it's more like remembering God and obedience thing. There's very few things that are specifically prohibited, and like those are the things that we're supposed to avoid. The whole purpose isn't to avoid certain substances. It's a prophet's asked us to do it. That's why we do it.
Yeah, I almost never talk about the health aspect because there's studies that show that a little bit of wine is good and the coffee antioxidants.
Yeah, so to go with that, any health aspect that says this is harmful, it means absolutely nothing.
Yeah, like
because it doesn't matter. Okay, tobacco's harmful. Okay, well, what if a study said tobacco's good for you, right? I mean, it doesn't matter. You using the studies, only the studies that show things are harmful does nothing to the conversation because that was never the point of the revelation.
Portable temple on the sea.
You dock that thing up in Africa where they have rough time getting access. You go in there, bada boom, bada bing.
Yeah.
Or you can do like temple cruises.
Yeah, or just do a worldwide temple stop to hit up all these areas that haven't. That are very difficult because people save up a lifetime of savings in some of these areas to be able to make it the 4 or 5 day journey through treacherous areas to get to a temple.
The Pacific Islands, for example.
I mean, this can only address coastal regions, but it's a step.
And the final rumor: Southern Virginia University becomes the next BYU.
Having a BYU on the East Coast would be amazing.
East Coast needs some love for sure.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I mean, and just like BYU Hawaii, BYU Idaho. I mean, it doesn't have to be a big school.
I think U.S. News Weekly will report said that BYU is a better value. It's more worth the money than Harvard or Princeton.
Yeah, it got ranked number 1 on that table.
That's all the rumors. So General Conference is less than a month away. How are you guys feeling about it?
Excited. I think that they are starting to, instead of reveal them during conference, like the big changes were in conference because they really need to be talked about. Maybe the youth program is that level. But all the other policy changes announced kind of on the down low, that's probably the better way to do it because, it's not like this is supposed to be TMZ. It's, the focus is Christ and being more Christ-like and things like that and not so much about here's the next big thing.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen a lot of these changes. I mean, like if we look back to the recap we did, I mean, there was a lot of changes. If you were to count how many of those were actually announced during General Conference, it was a very small portion of them.
And it's deliberate, right?
Yeah. I mean,
we're being punished for enjoying conference.
All right, our podcast has been distributed to all services, so find us on iTunes, Spotify, wherever podcasts are found. Thanks for watching. If we see you again, it will be Zion to us.
And you have something a little bit more low-key for outside the temple, like a pair of socks.